lexicons, etc., are not what you would call a part of what they're calling so-called black communities. Why? Because this would raise them up. They are the fodder. They're the fuel for the stove. They're the food. They're not going to sit at the table with the silverware. And so we have to deliver these things to our people because they've been denied these things. They don't know because they think that they're educated because they're going to a place called school. They're being trained. This is why, if you look at what has been the traditions with most people, if they've gone to college, etc. What has been the tradition in North America? The tradition has been that that corporations have always had funds and stuff that they put aside, right? It's not, bro. Have funds and stuff that they put aside, and they would train people out of college so they'd be useful to them, to the corporations. Why? Why? Because they weren't being educated. That's a front. They're his papers. And on the name, you'll fix that. But I just did that deliberately because I'm sharing some of that with the class as we're studying. We will go into that too. You got one too? All right. Now that's what you're going to use, Spike. Now I got my flash drive. You got your computer? Oh, I've got to give it to you on flash drive so you can work it off. All right. Now I'm supposed to go up to New York at my brother's after class, but I'm not. I'm going to come over to Jersey, put it on your flash drive, so you can. But that's what you're going to put in. Now what I did, now that's off. Now I was revising driver's license fraud book, and that's an example writ that I have in there that I didn't put on the website. Although it's part of other writs that we put in, that's just a refinement. And when I was talking to you, I more or less designed that specifically for you, but I'm also going to put that on the site. And so because of the nature of our conversation and their fraud and me trying to explain to you mandamus, a whole bunch of other things, I combined it to get impact so that you can beat them up, but then you're going to have to study. All right? All right. But so again, we want to recognize why certain things are done politically. So we're going to go into civil little mortus, and you can understand why. Now this is sequential, back to the status, understanding the foundation, and even, and I'm getting ready to go in, because one of my things that I'm going to deal with today is consular. Are we clear? Spike? Consular principles. Because that's a frame of mind that you're going to be in when you're making arguments. Even with Anissa, when we were making different arguments, behind the whole thing in the mental is consular. Just like you go to courts and they'll say, you want counsel? When they should be saying, where's your counselor? They're not going to say that to you because unless you are national, they know that you don't know better, and they've been taking advantage of us by putting us into an improper jurisdiction. You understand what I'm saying? When actually, when you go into the court, you're supposed to go into the court under a counsel. C-U-N-S-U-L. You understand? C-O-N-S-U-L, as opposed to counsel, i.e. the Lawyers Guild. Because the issue is diversity. We'll get into that. But I'm going to lay a foundation so it makes sense to you. Because this is where the frame of mind that you must be in when you're using the writs. And I know that it takes time with a lot of people, and you don't get a chance to get with everybody on every little nuance because you've got to be with this information for a minute. But you need to I'll give you a chance to change that. But you need to have a conceptual understanding of diversity. So make sure that you understand diversity, because we're going to go into that too. All right? So civil iter mortuus. So when you fail in the law of evidence, identity, etc., and so this would make, when you understand these things, you would understand why European families put their family names on us. Do you understand? Civil iter mortuus, civilly dead, dead in the view of the law. The condition of one who has lost his civil rights and capacities and is accounted dead in the law. This is also why the tag black is so important from a political perspective, because you're dead in the eyes of the law. And so our people get debating about, well, we call ourselves black people of Africa, of deepness. And it is so juvenile and so shallow, but they can never tell it if they have no knowledge. And they will fight and defend it and be putting themselves, by agreement, into servitude. And then, of course, the black codes come up as soon as they agree to be that, because that's the law that governs black people. Codes and law. And the Negro Act. And the people consented to it without knowing they consented to it. In ignorance of the law is no excuse. Why? Because the law is you. This is back to know thyself. You see how it all ties in? Then I'm going to go into customs too. So when we're talking about common law or bringing courts into order, you know, where they might have some statutory type stuff and you're trying to get around it. And the only thing that they can recognize, really, ultimately, to get around regulations and ordinances is when you try to bring the court to what is known as the common law venue. But then the common law is based in common culture or common customs, and the common customs traces to a pedigree and a nationality. So you see, the whole point is without national identity, you can't really call in the court in the session.
You're at that mercy.
Exactly. You got to look how deep this thing is layered. And these little subtleties, you know, over the years I try to get it to people, because if they understand these, they'd fix most of their own problems as far as making the argument. What they do is secondary to that. Your argument is going to be right. Starting with challenging the jurisdiction.